Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up those football gods. Good morning, guys. Welcome. It is Taco Tuesday, and I hope all your taco dreams come true, as well as Turk Tuesday. Turk Tuesday being the day that some people's football dreams end. Some people's football journeys really begin. But this day is a difficult day. In fact, Mike McCarthy, as he put it, these are the worst day. The next 48 hours is clearly the worst part of the job. Well, we're down to less than the 48 hours. We're down to 7 hours. 7 hours. Over the course of the next 7 hours, you're going to be in the locker room, and you hope that the Turk doesn't come down and say, grab your playbook. Coach wants to talk to you. I remember Ainsley Battles, former Jacksonville Jaguar and Pittsburgh Steelers. Some of you guys have probably heard this story before. But he said that there was a guy who got cut and re-signed and cut and re-signed by the Jaguars, I want to say 7 times in one season. It happened so frequently that they forgot to tell him 1 week. Basically, you got a guy that comes in, coach wants to talk to you, bring your book, they cut you. Next crew comes in, takes your stuff out, gets stuff ready for the next guy. He shows up for practice, and the Turk forgot to get him to go. He sits down in the locker, and he goes to put his shoes on, and he's like, the shoes don't fit right. What the hell's going on around here? And the other guy comes in and said, yo, what you doing in my locker? He looks up, and he sees the name tag has changed. Sad thing about football is it doesn't matter who you are. The NFL keeps rolling with you or without you. It's just going to keep moving. And that's the same thing in life. I always tell people, make sure you live every day to your fullest because you don't know if you have it tomorrow. And you better make the most of today. And this is where it is for the life of an NFL player. You must make the most of every single opportunity. Because just look at Jalen Smith. A couple of years ago, Jalen Smith was on top of the world. Best young group of linebackers. Got the big payday from the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys Man of the Year. And here it is, 2 years later. It's, what are we going to do with him? That's the nature of the beast of the NFL. And it's sad, to be honest with you. With the course of watching Hard Knocks, we've gotten an opportunity to get to know some of these guys that probably aren't going to make the roster. The thing that you have to appreciate by being able to see that is typically you see somebody famous and you put them up on this pedestal and you don't think that they're dealing with the same kind of situations that you are, that they don't have poop that stinks, that they don't get depressed, that they don't get nervous or anxious or have normal everyday problems. But the great thing about Hard Knocks was it brought them down, some of the players, down to a human level where you got to know their hopes, their dreams, their fears, their family, and gave you a little insight to humanity for the players. This is a difficult day for the coaches and the players. It really is. Even with that, though, it's an opportunity because you're going to have teams that are deep in one position. For example, like us with defensive ends and wide receivers. You might be a team that's depleted with young wide receivers. And I think back to Hard Knocks the last time we were on. We had a young receiver in Danny Amendola. And Danny had some, he had some good moments and some so-so moments. And the Cowboys ended up cutting him. He went on, I believe, to win a Super Bowl with New England and became a really good wide receiver. So don't necessarily go by early things that you've seen on the field. Football is hard. When you go from college to the pros, you are playing sometimes as the big fish in a little pond. But now, when you get to the NFL, everybody's a big fish. And some guys take a little bit of time before they get together. There's so many people that are down on Terrence Steele, but I look at it like this. He survived the onslaught. He didn't wilt. Yeah, okay. He had some bad plays. The first game he played, eyes wide open, was terrible. But it wasn't as terrible, say, as Chaz Green, who's still in the NFL. Nate Newton had a terrible first year with Washington, to the point where they said, "You're fat, slow, and worthless. Get out." The Cowboys picked that guy up on waivers, and he ends up being a major part of the Dallas Cowboys' Great Wall of Dallas. And here's what you're going to have now. Right now, the Cowboys are thin at, say, wide receiver, defensive line. There's going to be some veterans out there or young potential players that are going to be released by teams. Maybe they're not in the right system. Maybe they didn't get along with the coach. But there's opportunity to find players that can help you or that can be developed. And this is where the real work gets in here. Now, for the Cowboys, they have a couple of advantages and disadvantages for today. One is the players who tested positive for COVID or in the COVID protocol. The 4 of them don't count against the 53-man roster. The good news is they should be returning by Thursday. Great news. But in the meantime, that gives the Cowboys 4 extra slots to kind of maneuver with, because once the cuts are made today, boom, until noon tomorrow, teams have opportunities to take them off waivers. So that's 4 players you don't have to expose to the waiver wire. Now, Tristan Hill and Chauncey Golson, because they're on the PUP list, will end up being put onto the roster momentarily, but immediately as time is available, put on injured reserve designation. If you put them on injured reserve before the designation for the season, you can't bring them back. So that's why you hold on to them until, of course, after whatever the time is. But you put them on injured reserve, then they won't count, and then that means you can move some other players on there. So you're going to have 51, technically, because you have Tristan Hill and Chauncey Golston, who are going to go on injured reserve. But then you get the extra 4 because they're on COVID and don't count. So that actually gets you to 55. Still, every guy counts, because maybe the Cowboys could have kept a Tony Amendola if they could get 4 extra ones, and he ends up doing great things for the Cowboys. Well, we'll see what we're going to see. We're going to keep our ears and eyes open, and when something happens, we will definitely bring it to you guys. Tonight, 9:45, we'll be doing a Hard Knocks watch party. Today is number 4, and it will be the last one for the season. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the players that are kind of on the chopping block. You almost wish that they had one more show so you could see it through the players that are being released, although it might get really, really sad. With that being said, you know how we roll.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the show for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to